You have a TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. You don't need a TV.
Television addict! Television addict! Television addict!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to TV Guidance Counselor. This is Ken Reed here. As always, your TV Guidance Counselor, talking about classic television using back issues of TV Guide magazine from my personal collection as the trigger of our memories, or sometimes not. This week, we get right into Facts of Life right away. We get in depth into Facts of Life. So, hopefully you are on board with that, because I most certainly am. Also, a correction here. A loyal listener has told me, and it was too late for me to correct it in this episode, but when Natalie is assaulted, she is in fact dressed as Charlie Chaplin, not Oliver Harding. And I feel bad because I clearly assumed it was him because she was a bit portly, and that is on me. But it's Charlie Chaplin, so I do say it in this episode, and I'm incorrect as Charlie Chaplin. Anyway. My guest this week, very excited. She's an actress, roller derbyist. I don't know what the roller derby. Miss Emma Dumont. You may know her best as Polaris on The Gifted, the X-Men show that Matt Nix, former guest of the show, was the showrunner on. Unfortunately, just ended after 2 seasons, so that's too bad. It was a show I very much enjoyed. But Emma will no doubt go on to do something fantastic. I very rarely make predictions about people's careers, but I anticipate her being a massive movie star. She's very funny and a great actress, and very capable in all types of roles. So you will like her very much. I guarantee it. This is a great chat. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of TV Guidance Counselor with my guest, Emma Dumont.
TV is my friend, and it has been always there for me in time of need.
How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for doing this. I heard you were a big Golden Girls fan.
Oh, huge.
And I was instantly like, how is she so awesome? Because I already enjoyed your work, and I was like, super cool. And then you just confessed to me that your other favorite show is The Facts of Life. So like, how did this happen?
Yeah, I love The Facts of Life, but I have to admit, at first, I was really just drawn to Jo. I was like, she's my favorite, obviously.
Nancy McKeon.
So yes, fantastic. I was like, I wanted her like Bronx accent really badly, and I watched all the episodes that were like Jo related, and then I like watched those like 3 or 4 times because I'm insane.
How did you encounter it at first? Because you
know, I don't even know what it was. I don't know how I found it. I honestly couldn't say. I do know I found Golden Girls from Facts of Life, though, because I watched Facts of Life for like so long, and then I was like, I've watched all of these. I need something new. And I watched, of course, the movies like The Facts of Life. Go to whatever.
Europe and the reunion special.
Yes.
Yeah.
The reunion film, but they didn't have Jo. They had her daughter. It's very sad.
She quit acting.
That was sad for me. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, so I know that's how I discovered Golden Girls. So I was like, ooh, this is similar. Like this is the same. Like,
well, they were on the same night originally.
Oh, they were?
So Saturday nights on NBC, which was like heaven for me, was Facts of Life, Golden Girls, and then Amen, and then the rotating show was like Empty Nest. Like there were a couple different shows that went in there, and then it was SNL would be on. So it was just like I was in all night, and I loved Facts of Life so much. A huge crush on Tootie. I watched that show nonstop in reruns 4 times a day. Yes. But it's so weird to me that like, because you're younger than me, and I'm like, how do people even discover these shows when they're not like necessarily in reruns that much? Golden Girls is now. It's on Lifetime all day. But was it airing on something?
No,
or did you stumble?
It definitely was not airing. Facts of Life, I don't think I've never seen it play on television, actually. I think I like found it online somewhere, and I was like, ooh, 3 or 4 cute girls at a private girls boarding girls school. I love this. I did used to have an obsession with like boarding schools and like private school uniforms, and just like, I don't know, maybe it was just that I like found a picture of them and I'm like, what is this? I have to know. The
Eastland logo?
Yeah. And I was like, ooh, what is this? That's probably actually exactly how I found out. I probably was just Googling private school uniform.
Yeah, I guess if it's like Harry Potter, Worst Witch, like they're kind of that private school thing. Totally. Did you go to public school or did you go to private school?
I went to public school, public school.
So again, that's it probably seems like exciting to go to like a boarding school.
No, my dream was like to go to, my dream was to be the Facts of Life girl. So like go to a private boarding school and wear uniforms every day and like meet 3 girls that were my best friends. We were like a ragtag gang of whatever.
Lifelong friends. Let's get an adventure.
Totally.
Yeah, let's learn the lessons together.
Lessons of life. The facts of life. And so, yeah, that's probably how I found it, probably, is like Googling school uniforms. And I just watched, I think I just like bought it on iTunes or whatever, or on Amazon Prime or whatever, and was like, I would like Google, like Wikipedia or whatever, which ones are Joe based, and like watch all the Joe ones. And then I watched all of them, not the first season, I just watched all the newer ones.
The Molly Ringwald season.
Yes.
Very different.
Very, very different. And then I went back and watched the first season, and I was like, first of all, the roller skates I lived for. I know like their producers didn't love them and everyone thought it was like weird, but I lived because I used to play roller derby. So I was like, girl, I'm living for these old school quad skates that you're on. I think it's great. They should have kept it for your character. But yeah, Duty's the best. But yeah, there were a lot of girls. It was hard to track. It
was too much. Like a side note, every year I used to rent a roller rink in Boston and have a birthday party for myself called RollerReid. And I would rent the whole place because it was super cheap. It was like $200. You rent the whole place. And have as many people you want, put the music on, and we would just have like an adult roller skating party that like I never had as a kid.
I'm obsessed.
It was the best. We did RollerReid every year, and then I stopped doing it eventually, but I was like, this is so fun.
We have to start again. We should do this again.
RollerReid, yeah.
Wait, was there reading involved?
No, but it's my last name.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, duh. Yeah. Like, R-E-I-D. I get it.
Yeah, but there's like an old school rink like around here though, isn't there? Like down towards Pasadena or something.
Maybe. There's Moonlight Rollerway that's in Glendale.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's super cool. And it's like total old school, like rainbow lights, like that ugly carpeting with like neon colors. It's great.
Brown skates, orange wheels.
Oh my gosh, yes. And they have the best thing I think it's Tuesday nights. On Tuesday nights they have like an adults only night, but they play like only organ music.
Yeah. Oh, it's old people do like ballroom dancing. Yes, they do that at this place.
Thing. Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Roller World.
Oh yes. Yeah. And then I always get in trouble there, and I'll go and get in trouble for speed skating in circles because I don't know how to do like dancing or anything. I just know how to go fast. Roller derby. And then they'll yell at me. They'll be like, "Girl on the striped shirt, please slow down. You're at safety hazard." Yeah. I'm like, "Oh no!" And then I get nervous, and then I don't go back for like a month.
See, I don't know how to stop. That's my only thing.
Great.
Like I can skate around, and then at Roller World the concrete barriers are carpeted, so I just leave with carpet burns. But I'm like, you know what, worth it, fine.
Yeah.
So we'll get back to Facts Live in a second, but now I'm fascinated, like, how did you get into roller derby?
Oh, okay, again, I was inspired. As every like young girl, I'm just inspired by something that I love. Like, I love Facts Live because I love the idea, dream of going to boarding school. I had read the book that the film Whip It, that Drew Barrymore directed, was based on, and it's like very much like this young girl, like, you know, trying to find herself, and then she finds herself, and then she has like this horrible boyfriend who's like we hate or whatever. And then I watched the film, and I was like, oh my gosh,
this is everything.
This is everything. I have to do this. And now, a little bit of backstory about me. Not to waste too much time, but like
this show's all about wasting time.
Oh, great, perfect. Then I have lots to say because I love hearing myself talk. What? So growing up, I was never the girl at the roller skating birthday parties who could even stand up in skates. So like, you know, we're all born like outliers of something like that book, like the Malcolm Gladwell book. And like, you know, I was really good at math growing up. I was really good at music. I was good at like dance and certain things. Roller skating and athletics, not my thing, like at all. My mom like played basketball for years and ran track and played every sport and volleyball.
Your mom also very tall?
Yes, she is. Yeah. And she was like super athletic and super academic and just like a star in every aspect of her life. And she got like a model ballerina for her daughter. So,
there's worse things to get for a daughter.
True. But so I was like, I have to do this. And I know I can't skate because literally I've been to like my friend Sammy had a birthday party at the roller rink like 2 weeks ago, and I was asked to come off the skating floor. Like they were like, stop. And I'm like, I'm so tall, you know, I'm like,
it's like a baby deer.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I'm Bambi, but for real on roller skates. I'm Bambi on roller skates. So this was not something that I had any sort of natural knack for or anything I should have been trying. But I went to like the last day of like the youth program for the roller girls or whatever. And I went and I was so scared and as I suspected, I couldn't skate.
This was in Washington or?
No, this was here in California. Okay. And so it was literally just me like working through the steps of like how a child does when they learn to read, like inch by inch, like step by step. And it's something that if I ever want to learn something new and I don't think I'm naturally gifted at it, I just say, oh, but remember the time you did something that you were like not only not good at, but like terrible at.
Yeah.
And so now I'm a great skater and can skate really fast, and it's great. And I'm actually like, because of my long legs, I'm actually a very good skater. Before that was a detriment. But the amount of like bruising and falling on my skates and horrible things that happened on the way.
You feel like you earned it though. You know what I mean?
Totally.
You're like, I went through. It's almost like a hazing in a good way.
It is, yeah.
Where you're like, I earned this ability.
I earned this, yeah. And then the thing with roller derby is like, there's like, ooh, you learn how to skate, good for you. Now you learn how to hit people and be hit. Yeah. So the second I learned how to skate, they're like, great, we're gonna have this girl hit you.
Boom.
Yeah, while you try to stand up on your quad skates. It's not even like inline. They're like hard. So it was like interesting, but eventually I did it for years, and I like slowly got better. It was definitely like a journey. Like when people are like, you need 10,000 hours, and it's like, you still have to start at the beginning. Like this is definitely something. I think maybe the only thing that I didn't have any sort of natural like interest or ability in, that I was like, let me try this. Yeah. So I recently started playing banjo, and that's what like made me do that, because I was like, banjo seems so hard. Yeah. I grew up playing classical viola and violin, but like this is so different for me.
Well, you get the basics of music.
I get the basics of music, but I was like, this seems so foreign to me, and I don't think I'm going to be good at it. But I learned how to roller skate, and then learned how to play a sport on roller skate, so maybe I can do it. So yeah,
that's the way to do those things. Like you have a success and you're like, this can be done.
Yes.
Yeah. I envy your ability to do that, because I'd be like, I'm just bad at it. Like, anything that required practice, like playing guitar, martial arts, magic, like anything that I tried. As a kid, I was like, I love magic.
Oh, I'm obsessed with magic. Illusionists are my favorite.
You've been to the Magic Castle, I presume?
I have not.
What?
I know, it's one of my life dreams.
You could go.
I don't know if I qualify.
I could get you in there.
You get me? Okay.
I could get you in there. Okay. I know some people. If you want to go, it's fun. But like I loved that stuff, and and weirdly, when I think about it, they're all not guitar, but like martial arts and magic and like comedy are a similar principle in that you're like anticipating somebody's moves, misdirecting them, all that.
Totally,
stuff.
No, you're right.
But those take so much practice, and I'm so bad at it. I just can't practice. Like I'm so bad at practice, and so I would get so frustrated, and so I have such respect for people who like practice a thing and are good at it.
Yeah,
because I would be like, there's good enough to kind of fake it. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be in a punk band. I can play guitar that much. But like magic, I'm like, man. But then when I realized it takes so much time,
practice,
where I'm just like, I'm a wing it person. Like I have trouble memorizing stuff. Like it's just like
you're like, not for me.
No, I'm like, man. What was the team you were on?
I was on. I was on like the juniors team. So we had the Junior Riots, which was our like travel team. It's with the LA Derby Dolls. Shout out. They're amazing. They've changed my life. And like anyone who's like, I'm thinking about getting my daughter into Derby, I'm like, do it, because it literally teaches your daughter that when they're knocked down to get right back up. And that's like the most important, valuable thing. Like I think we can teach young girls. And it's also just like a great support system. Like I grew up with a single parent with a single mom. So like I already knew women were great and they were strong. But like for other girls who don't have that, role model or whatever else, it's great to be in a community of women that are just badass chicks. Yeah. Like don't take no for an answer. They're very strong. They're all different from different walks of life. We have nurses and doctors and lawyers and like all sorts of things. I'm an actress, whatever. So it's like,
it's a great equalizer.
Totally.
It's like the Cheers
cool bar. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There.
It's the best. But I still do that thing where I'm like, I'm not going to be good at this. I don't want to do it. Like I'm really bad at learning languages. And so I'm trying to learn Mandarin. I'm not.
Mandarin's so hard.
Yeah.
I tried to learn Cantonese.
Also very hard.
It is really hard. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with Hong Kong action movies.
I love it.
And we had a Shaw Brothers theater in Chinatown in Boston.
Oh, cool.
And this was when Chinatown was called the Combat Zone, because it was like a red light district. We had one theater that showed like martial arts movies. Yeah. In Cantonese. I had no idea what they're saying, but I would go all the time.
Like, I love this.
Yeah. I have no idea what I'm watching. I'm watching John Woo movies. I have no idea what they're saying. But I love this movie. So I'm like, I want to learn Cantonese. Yeah. And I'm like, I can't learn Cantonese. This is so hard. This is so hard.
It is hard.
But Mandarin's maybe harder.
No, I think the same hard. I mean, I tried to learn Japanese. I took it in school.
Ichi ni san yan go.
Oh.
That's all I can do. Rocco hachi sichi kyuju.
Yeah, I don't know any.
It's just 1 to 10.
Yeah, no, I knew that. All I can say is like, konbini wa onegaishimasu.
Yeah.
or like "Chat mate kudasai." I get
You travel there a lot, don't you?
I used to go there for modeling, but yeah, so Japanese is hard, but I always wanted to learn Russian. That was my big thing because I studied ballet at the Bolshoi Ballet in Moscow for a summer.
Oh wow!
And I like love Russian ballet.
How old were you when you were there?
I don't even know. In my late teens.
Was that the first time you'd left the country, or like?
No, I'd already been to like Hong Kong, China, Japan.
Because I imagine that like. Thinking of me at that age, like I would have just lost my mind.
Yeah.
Like, I would have been terrified. Like
really?
This other country, I'd be like, I don't know the language. I'm like absolutely terrified.
Yeah, I mean, it's different there because ballet is like very much it's government run and like sanctioned and whatever else because it's like very much part of their culture.
It's their national like, asset.
Yeah, exactly. It's like very valued there, and ballet dancers are very valued, and they're valued here too. But it's sort of like here, I feel like people are like, oh, you're going to be a dancer? Like, it's sort of like, oh, you're going to be an artist? Like,
it seems very New York. Like, oh, you're going to New York and be a ballet dancer?
Yeah,
and it seems almost, not old-fashioned, but like...
Yeah, old-fashioned,
yeah. It's not a modern... It doesn't feel modern to people here.
Yeah. People are like, yeah. Anyway, so it's cool. It was cool to go to a country where it was like so valued.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. So anyway, so I love the Russian language, and I always wanted to learn, but I'm not like, I don't know if I'm not disciplined enough, or I just like get grumpy because I'm like, I'm not naturally good at this, whatever.
But they're all not dramatic languages that you want to learn, so you don't even have any basis.
I'm not like, I want to learn Spanish and French. Like, no.
Like stuff that you could kind of be like, all right, I kind of get this. Yeah. You're like, no, I want Korean, things that look nothing like in Greek.
Totally.
Language. The other thing I was trying to do was I was like, oh, if I just watch enough of these movies, I'll pick it up.
But is that true? Does that work?
No, because I've heard that that's what people do. Like,
I know people are like,
when my father moved to this country,
yes,
he learned English from Price is Right.
Yes, yes, people say that all the time.
Not for me.
Not for me either.
No.
And then there's like, okay, so I'm really into RuPaul's Drag Race. Side note,
you have good taste.
And thank you. And there's a drag queen named Katya who speaks like 8 languages, and I'm like, I wish I could even just learn one that wasn't English. I feel so stupid, and when I go to other countries, I feel embarrassed.
Oh, because everyone speaks other
Everyone
languages.
speaks, they're bilingual, trilingual, whatever. They speak a million languages, and I'm so embarrassed that I'm like American and I only speak English, and it's sad for me.
I mean, I can argue with people in Spanish because I worked in restaurants.
Oh, good for you. Yes.
That's about the level of my other language.
I love it. That's all you need.
Yeah, but it's like, I feel like you have a language brain and you don't. At a certain age. Like, if a kid's young enough and you teach them, I think everyone can do it, but like, I think you hit like a barrier where you have it or you don't. You can unlock that or you don't.
Or you don't have it. Yeah, that's why my kids are going to be learning like Russian, Japanese, Spanish, German. Like, I don't care. I'm going to like hire people to come in. They'll speak a different language every day. Because then they'll grow up and they'll be like, oh, I don't know how I learned this. I don't remember, but I just have this, this skill now.
Well, there's also like concepts in other languages that don't translate that I feel like make you not smarter, but like give you a bigger toolbox of like ideas.
Yeah, they'll be like in another language, like the word for the feeling when your eye is dry and you blink the water into your eye or whatever it is, like very specific, like very human things. Yeah, I love it.
My favorite one was there's a French term called like l'esprit d'escalier, and it's like the spirit of the stairwell.
I'm obsessed.
What it means is
like the true crime docuseries.
It's about that show. But before the show, what it means is it's after you have a conversation with someone, it's the things you should have that you think of that. Oh, I should have said this while you're in the stairwell leaving. Yes, which is such like a useful concept.
Totally, and that's something we all feel.
Yeah, but there's no way to really explain that in English very eloquently.
Except for what you just said, which is the awkward feeling when you walk down the stairs. Yeah, no.
But it's like, it's a phrase that people know, like it instantly you know what it is. And there's stuff like that in all languages that we just don't.
Not really ours.
No. We're very concrete here.
Yeah, it's like
in English.
Yeah, literal meanings of things.
Yeah, and just but I am sort of obsessed with regional variations of language and accents and those sorts of things, especially since they're leaving.
Same.
Yeah, like weird terms for things.
Oh yeah, what are some? I can't even think of any.
Well, we have a ton in Boston.
Oh, I know.
Water fountain we call a bubblah.
I'm sorry, what?
Yep.
I'm obsessed.
Yep, bubblah.
Wait, and do you all know that's weird?
Sort of, yeah. Now people do. Like, and it's sort of going away now, too. But, like, people would call that a bubblah. You would call...
Where does that come from?
I don't know. I guess because the water bubbles up from the fountain.
Oh, it's like literal.
Yeah, it's like a little bubbler.
Oh, yeah. Like it's a bubbler.
Bubbler, yes. I pronounced it in the Boston.
In the Boston.
A lot of it comes from like, I think, weird provincial Irish stuff.
Cool.
Because when people do a Boston accent, one of the things they always miss is there's an Irish thing that people do, and it's like a noise at the end of like a T sound.
What is it?
So you would say like 8. instead of like 8. So they'll just do the R thing, but they'll miss those weird things.
Ones.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And that stuff's weird, but like you call, they would call soda tonic.
Oh, wait, but tonic is a thing, like tonic water.
Like hair tonic. Yeah, but they would call all
anything
soda tonic. Get the kid out of tonic, and he lost his mind.
Oh my god!
And I had to put his face in the bubble to cool him down. Like, or like the room, like your living room would be the Paula.
Oh, cute.
Like, yeah.
I love it makes everything sound fancy. I love it.
Paula for dinner.
Great.
It's very, very strange. And there's stuff like that in most places.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Seattle and we have none of that. It's like very neutral.
Do you think it's because Seattle's like a relatively new place?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we don't have like a history. I mean, anything on the East Coast is going to have more of a history than we do.
But then you compare it to England.
I'm sorry, that was like so rude. I didn't mean to like discount the history of like Native Americans.
A longer modern American history.
How that's yeah.
Is Seattle a place with the underground Chinese city?
Oh wait. We have an underground city, yeah.
Yeah, but it was built by like the Chinese immigrants that they made build the railroads.
What? It was?
Yeah, because
I love that you know more than I do.
Well, why would you? But it's like the town you grew up in, you don't know the touristy
No, but
stuff.
we did. We like had to go on the tour and like learn about it. And I clearly just like lost it. I blacked it out.
They made Chinese immigrants build the railroads and they had to stop at the coast because there's no more place to build a railroad. Yeah. And they weren't allowed to own like land or really so they built an underground Chinese city. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
Terrifying.
I know.
It's so cruel.
But that's where the term Shanghai'd comes from, because they...
I've never even heard that.
Oh, it's very old. There's a really terrible Madonna movie called Shanghai Surprise that's wonderful.
I'm going to see it.
It's her and...
I'm going to watch it immediately.
You will love it. It's her and Sean Penn when they were married.
Oh, great.
And it's like it takes place in the 40s, and it's like a wacky comedy, but it's horrible.
Oh, great.
But in the best way.
Yeah,
it's a train wreck. She was also in a movie called Who's That Girl? That's a remake of Bringing Up Baby.
I have not seen this as
That's
well.
also crazy. It has a full, like, she has a pet lynx tiger. Like,
my gosh.
I
love anytime Madonna thinks she's an actor.
She's not an actor.
I'm obsessed. I think that's great. I think she should keep doing it.
Although Desperately Seeking Susan works.
Okay, true.
Because she's playing herself.
I agree 100,000%. Yes.
And she's being propped up by Rosanna Arquette, who makes other people look like good actors.
Amazing, yeah.
But it's, Shanghai means like kidnapped. And it's a really old term. And the reason is that there was like an opiate trade and some underground crime that fueled that underground city. They would literally, and this sounded like an urban legend to me, and I had to look it up to confirm it. But they would get people drunk in bars and had a trap door, and they'd pull them down and ship them to Shanghai and sell them.
Humans?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So like, they got Shanghai and basically like got sold into like slavery.
Is that like a real thing?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah. And that was there. Like they would just like drop them down.
I don't know. If somebody didn't force me to live underground, I feel like maybe I'd do something.
Yeah. I'm like, fuck
like, just desserts. Okay. Something I recently learned, because I went to Shanghai. It's actually Shanghai, not Shanghai.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And now I'm like very aware of it. I'm like, Shanghai.
Although, is that Mandarin pronunciation? Like, do they pronounce it Shanghai maybe in Cantonese?
Oh, I don't even know. I didn't even think about that.
Because that's the thing. I think I've said this on the show before. The thing that fascinates me is the written Chinese language is the same for Mandarin and Cantonese, but their language, the dialect's totally different. And a friend described it to me as a Cantonese and a Mandarin speaker could read the same newspaper and understand it, but not be able to talk about it.
Crazy. I love that.
Which is really weird.
Which is totally weird.
Like, how does that work?
I don't know.
Yeah. My friend Joe Wong, who I've had on the show, is a stand-up who I started with in Boston. And he got on Letterman like 7 times really early.
Oh, good for him.
He had this like development deal, and they were trying to make him he was a chemical engineer from MIT.
Oh, whoa.
Chinese immigrant.
I love this guy, actually.
But all the shows they were trying to be, they're like, okay, you're a dumb Chinaman who drives a cab.
Oh,
and he was
like,
no. Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm an engineer. What are you talking about?
So like, then he and I wrote a pilot, which I liked, and then they were like, no. So he was like, screw this, I'm moving back to China.
Oh, good, nice.
So he's like the biggest TV star in China right now.
I love that.
He hosts a show that's like The Tonight Show mixed with Unsolved Mysteries.
Oh, okay.
But apparently it's like enormously huge.
Great.
And he does like the New Year's Eve thing every year. It's like Joe
they're like
Long's
whatever.
New Year's
they're
Eve.
Like, yeah.
And he goes to like all the movie premieres with like Donnie Yen and all. It's so bizarre. But so I would always, he speaks Mandarin. It would always bug him about like pronunciations and stuff, but he always put up with it, which I'll always thank him for. But that stuff fascinates me because we just don't have it.
Yeah,
it's whenever people like discredit Eastern countries, I'm like, dude, our country's so not real. It's like 200 years.
It's so not
like
real. It's new. We're like a baby.
Yeah.
We're like a tiny newborn baby.
The joke I used to make when I had friends come over from England is like,
oh my gosh, I thought you were going to say the joke I used to make when I used to have friends, and I was like,
back when I had friends, before the court said no more.
Oh my gosh.
But I would show my friends around like Boston, which is one of the oldest parts of America.
Yeah.
But I'd be like, this is the oldest cemetery in America. It's from 1640. And they'd be like, we have one from 4. Like it literally would be.
We have one from 4.
Yeah, it's near my house. It's kind of a pain. So it's just like that. Really, that's when it hit me. I'm like, oh yeah,
that's so funny. I love that.
So it's very strange. But so roller derby to me is quintessentially 70s.
Yes.
Much like the early days of Facts of Life, there was like that roller disco fascination, and so it's so funny that you gravitated towards specifically those two things.
Yeah, very specifically.
Both require uniforms.
Yeah, I love uniforms. I think that's what we're gaining from this.
Have you got to do a part where you wore a uniform?
No, once. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now.
Okay.
I did a pilot for NBC. It was my very first acting job before I even knew I wanted to be an actor. And I played a girl who went to a private school, who went to like a parody of like Harvard Westlake or whatever. Okay. We called it like Harvey Westlake or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, and I got to wear a school uniform and I was obsessed.
Were you like, can I keep this?
I think I did keep it. I till this day own mini school uniforms. I don't know. I was never like a Gossip Girl fan, so it wasn't like that made me into it. I was like just always really into a uniform. Like I loved it. Like I always owned, when I did Girl Scouts for only like a year. Like I wasn't dedicated. Yeah. But I like owned like the vintage Brownie uniform.
But they're better.
With like the vintage beanie and the vintage like socks.
Because it's like an air hostess outfit.
Totally, you know? Yes. Oh my gosh. I want to be a flight attendant more than anything in the world.
Oh yeah. Like, have you seen that Pan Am Hotel?
What?
I think it's in LA.
Also, for people listening, I literally just moved my entire body. I was so excited.
It was a great reaction. They put an old airplane terminal. They vintaged it out as a Pan Am hotel, and you can sleep like in one of the plane. Like the rooms are in the old planes, and they're all like super 60s.
Where
vintage.
Is this?
I feel like it's in California.
We should go.
Yeah,
Done.
We'll go roller derby, and then we'll go to this
part
hotel.
2 to this interview is
we'll do it live from there. But I think it is. It's awesome. I'll look it up. But it looks so cool, and I was like, that's everything.
Amazing.
Yeah, and all the people who work there have the uniforms and all that stuff. Oh. I don't know what it is where some of us, and I apologize for lumping you in with me.
No, do it. We'll see if you're right.
Automatically, just inherently, unexplainably attracted to eras before our time.
Yes. Oh no, I agree completely. Yes.
And you don't remember when you first started.
No, I don't remember when, but I've had phases though. So I was like, oh, this is embarrassing. At one point in my teen years, I was like really into like the club kid era, and I was like, oh yeah, like I thought I was a club. I was like, I'm Lee Bowery, like I'm
Monster. Lee Bowery.
Yeah,
wow,
I'm gonna dress crazy. I'm like, I was like really into Gareth Pugh, who's like this newer designer, and I was like, I'm gonna be awesome. I'm like so great.
Was this before your modeling or?
This was like during my modeling.
Okay, well then that makes sense.
Yeah. So I was like living in New York, like dressing in like disco balls, covering my face, like being crazy and like thinking I'm really great. and then like weirdly enough, I never had like a 60s phase. I like kind of had a brief one. I had a phase when I was like really into the factory. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna cover everything in like silver, like tinfoil, so dumb. But then I was on a show that was set in the late 60s, and then I lost all it. It was called Aquarius. It was Charles Manson.
Oh yes, yeah.
It was on NBC.
That would break you of that.
Yeah, I lost all interest. I was like, I'm done.
That's like the equivalent of like my parents caught me smoking, made me smoke a whole pack, and I got sick, and I never did it again.
Yeah, totally.
You like the 60s, do you?
Yeah.
Here, do this for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Totally.
That whole Lee Bowery, like I never wanted to live in New York because to me, New York seemed like Boston with all the bad stuff and more bad stuff.
Okay, true. You know, I almost went to college in Boston, or like
where'd you almost go?
In Wesley.
Oh, yeah.
But I wasn't going to go to Wesley. I was going to go to a school called Olin and like cross and roll with that school.
I like New England.
That was not convincing.
Well, I have a very weird relationship with it where there's there's things that are like inherently part of me from growing up there that I do not like.
Oh, great.
And it's a weird place. The thing I always joke is like, you would think there's not enough chips for all the there's not enough shoulders for all the chips in Massachusetts, because people just have this real, and it's this real provincial. The other joke I make is that it has a reputation for being racist, which it isn't as much as it has an artisanal xenophobia. In that it's kind of like, it's not that I dislike you because you're black or gay or whatever, it's that I dislike you because you're not me. It's like a really weirdly specific thing, and mixed with this sort of inferiority complex, and there's like the history of like old money and blue collar, and then 30% of our population is students, so we lose a third of the people every year. You get new people who are like invaders, you know.
Yeah, you're like, who are you? You're only here for 4 years.
It's that you think you're better than me. That's like the weird thing that comes from there. But New York, even though I loved like the whole like Times Square, but like the punk rock, you know, like the like mythology of like, the CBGBs, Ramones, like all that stuff. It still kind of seemed like, ugh, to me.
Really? Yeah. You just said all these terrible things about Boston, and then you're like, I hate New York. I'm not sure what.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just that it was like the things I don't like about Boston, I also were in New York. Like that, you can't escape the city, and I wasn't as
true.
There are people who are just enchanted by the city, and I get it. Like and it took me a while to get it. Like it's everything, and people from everywhere, and you can reinvent yourself, and people accept like
that one. I'm questioning.
Well,
when people are like, I moved to New York, I became a different person. I'm like, you're still you. Stop.
You just dress different.
Yeah,
but you could be like,
you bleached your hair out. Calm down.
You can be like, I want to let my freak fly.
Yeah.
But like, especially people who come from like
conservative, totally. Milwaukee,
or like I can get whatever ethnic food at any hour of the day, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and you like walk a block and you're in a whole different neighborhood.
Yeah,
I mean,
so like
I love New York. New York is my
get that,
thing.
But it doesn't. You like it better than here?
Oh heck yeah! Are you kidding? More than LA? Yes. Yes.
See, that's the thing. I didn't come out here till I was like 30.
Good for you.
But I loved it.
You really?
And I wished I had come out here. Like, I wish I moved here when I was 19.
Oh my gosh. I'm the opposite. I'm like, I need to be in New York. I miss New York. I used to live there for half my years. I miss it. I'm just like, also because I grew up in Seattle, which is such a walkable.
Yes. Like, it's the walkable thing.
Totally. I mean, Seattle's like, if you could take like a part of I don't even know, like Queens maybe, and then make it just like a mile by mile, that's Seattle.
But it's in Boston. I mean, Boston, you can walk from one end to the other.
Totally, it's great. Yeah. And we have great transpo, and it's like awesome. And so that's why I like New York. I just hear so much driving. There's so much traffic, everything's spread out, and everyone hates themselves.
That's true. Everyone does. The first thing I thought when I came out here is, I'm like, everyone's so nice. We could conquer them. They could like be an East Coastie, you know what I mean?
Like wait a sec.
They have no defenses.
They're just They're just like happy hippies.
Yeah, but then I'm like, oh, I get it. Like I like that though, like weird, because it's so different from where I grew up, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh, I'd love to be like at the beach. And,
like chill out.
Yeah, and the food's good. People are in a good mood.
Everyone's nice and happy.
No one's just gonna punch me for no reason and ask me what I'm looking at. You know, like it's that stuff. Where I'm like, I already did that. I got that.
I grew up in that.
Yeah. So it's I get that, but like New York, I just never. I wasn't into like Broadway and the mythology of it, and but I do love like 40s, 50s New York.
Oh,
like that weird, like sophisticated.
Ooh.
It was like if you ever watch some of the really old game shows, like What's My Line, or like like it's all these like I write. It's like Gore Vidal and like the editor of Esquire and a comedian, and they're all in smoking
like really
jackets.
Like dressed really nice.
Yeah, it's like very sophisticated.
But I also
and
feel
smart.
like that's just something that's like that's in every city. Like what happened to us as a nation? Like, why do we dress up poorly now? Why did we used to get dressed up for like everything?
To go on airplanes.
To go on airplanes. Like it was like everything was an occasion. Everything was special. Everything meant something. And now we're all just like looking at our phones, like kind of ungrateful for what we have.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like
everybody
terrible.
Is. It's the dystopian future. Like here's what you get.
Totally. And I say that as I'm wearing like a men's Hanes sweatshirt.
Well, yeah, but you sophisticated it with like a nice suit jacket.
Thank you. Yes.
But it's I think part of it is not to get like weird social studies, because I'm definitely not smart enough to get into this realm. But it's like that was very class based.
Okay.
So
we don't like that.
Intelligentsia who had that sort of life, people aspired to it, and they would really try to look the part and get the respect of those people.
Totally.
And as those barriers broke down a bit, I mean, we still have that. things became more common denominator.
Yeah.
For better or worse. So it's not necessarily better, but you lose some things for gaining other things.
Yeah, okay, actually, now that you've explained this to me, I'm like actually really into us not dressing up.
Yeah, but like,
that's great. People shouldn't have to try to be, I mean, people still are buying $200 t-shirts.
Yeah, but they look like garbage
t-shirts.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I like that. Actually, now that we talk about it, now that we've expressed this, I'm like, yeah, I'm into it.
But it's also a respect thing too. Like, like I went to the movies every single Wednesday from 1982 to 2002. Since I was 2 years old till when I was 22.
I love that.
Every week, never missed a week. It was like a thing I lived for. And then I had to stop because people are so awful. Like, because they just stopped caring that they're in the movies.
Oh, yeah. People don't care.
So I'm like, we all paid. Like, you're ruining this for everybody.
Yeah.
And like that kind of stuff, I
can't
hate.
stand.
Like, it's
people are rude.
Basic decency stuff.
Yeah, like being a human.
Yeah.
Like how to be in society.
Yeah, like we're not all just kowtowing to what you want. Like there are other people here. Like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know when that happened or like what, where that came from. I don't know. People like to blame the millennials a lot, but I see like older people, like not older, but like people older than me being like not nice.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And younger people too. I'm like, everyone's kind of not nice.
I think it's people stop regulating what other people do.
Maybe.
Which is good.
Which is good. Yeah. People don't judge as much, but also people aren't like holding themselves to a certain standard as much.
You're not called out as much for like being an asshole.
Yeah.
And also the world has changed where some of that's encouraged in a way that it's looked at as someone being like successful.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Which I don't agree with at all. But that was an '80s thing. Like that was that whole greed is good, Wall Street. Like, he's just I respect how cutthroat.
He's a monster. Yeah,
and so a lot of people saw that and go, that's how you do it. And it's not right.
Yeah.
But I think that stuff swings back around. Like I definitely see. Like kids, like junior high school kids, or like my friends' kids, they're like sweet, empathetic,
totally,
good
people. Yeah, which is great.
That's not the kids I grew up with.
We're not.
They were monsters.
Little monsters. Terrible. Yeah. No, it is. I think that we're making. The next generations are going to be better than us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, that's like one of the reasons that I loved television so much as a kid and movies, aside from the fact that I was just like in this shitty house in Boston and didn't go anywhere. And it was like the way that I experienced anything exciting.
I love it.
Yeah. Was that's how I absorbed empathy or like learned how to understand people who are not like me, because I wasn't a girl in a school uniform with going to private school, but I loved that show.
Yeah.
And those are experiences I would never ever encounter otherwise.
Totally.
So that kind of stuff I think is important. And we lost that a little bit in the 90s when stuff became, in the late 90s, when stuff became so niche and aspirational that now it's like, well, what do you like and what do you want? You want to be a rich person who has fuck you money and act that way. So we're going to give you that. And then you act like that even if you don't have it.
Yeah.
And I think that burst.
Yeah.
Sort of. Maybe.
Yeah, I think for sure.
Do you have a favorite Facts of Life episode?
Oh my gosh. This is so hard.
Do you have a favorite era, like favorite season?
Oh, the beginning.
Okay. All right. So the early years.
Yeah, early years. When they were at the school.
Okay.
I love all of it. I'm not going to harsh.
You're not an Edna's Edibles.
I'm not going to say anything negative.
What about Mr. Lazzaroni? Did you remember Mr. Lazzaroni?
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. So my favorite episode, it's hard because all of the like special episodes are like so heartbreaking.
Oh yeah.
And like so meaningful. And like similar to how Golden Girls was like kind of pushing boundaries in its time.
Yeah.
This was also a show that was pushing boundaries in its time.
Big time.
With like a young audience. And I'm like really proud of these, producers or whoever wrote this. I'm like, good work.
There were only 2 network shows that talked about teenagers and virginity in a 25-year period.
25 years?
And it was Facts of Life. Natalie lost her virginity, which is supposed to be Blair.
It's supposed to be Blair. Yep. Oh my gosh! And she was like, "No, I'm like, it's against my religious beliefs." And I was like, "Okay, but you're playing a character."
Do you have her album?
What?
I'll copy it for you. She put out Lisa Whelchel put out a Christian like dance pop album.
Oh my gosh, dance pop! I'm obsessed.
It's like freestyle.
I can't wait.
It's like Lisa and Cult Jam.
Oh my gosh,
it's Christian.
So that's gonna be what I'm gonna be listening to for the next month of my life.
Good roller skating music.
Classic.
And the other show was a show that I love, which was shot in Boston, called James at 15.
Okay.
which was the inspiration for Dawson's Creek, weirdly.
Oh.
And it was the first show. It was about a kid that moved from Portland, Oregon to Boston in Charlestown and lived in the city and just like his teenage life.
Yeah,
and
every
it
day.
didn't write down to kids, but it also wasn't like an old guy and what he thinks kids are doing.
Cool.
And they had a virginity loss episode, and it was
Great.
1978.
It's great.
And it was handled in a way that wasn't, because at that time movies would handle that, but it was like those horn dog Porky's kind of movies, especially with like a boy.
Yeah.
This was like a totally
like normal.
Yeah, and that's what the Facts of Life
and that's
thing
what
did.
people, especially like young men, needed to see.
Yeah,
because there's like so much like I know I hate saying this because everyone's like throwing it around, but like toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
And especially like I feel like not to stereotype, but I feel like maybe in Boston there's a lot of that, or everyone's like trying to be hey, I'm tough.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome.
So, but it took another 10 years to have that be represented on a show.
Yeah.
And so Facts of Life did, and they were the first show to have someone with a disability be a major character.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, the show's so amazing. What else? What else did they do? I mean, they covered everything. They covered like drugs,
the date rape episode, and then the one where Natalie gets attacked.
Why is everything happening to Natalie?
I think she was just up for taking the acting part.
I know, she was like, I'm good with it.
She was the only one that wasn't an actor.
I know, they found her at a school.
Yeah.
I actually could not believe that.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad they did. I'm so grateful for that character.
I love her. She's so likable. Like she's the one that you want to be friends with.
Because she's like a real person. She's not like playing a character.
Yeah. But there's the one where here's the weird thing about very special episodes in the 80s for other shows, and I don't know if you've explored any others, like The Different Strokes or Growing Pains or Mr. Belvedere, but they were doing true broadcasting in that they're trying to make shows for the whole family.
Yes.
So they're trying to make their hearts are in the right place, and they're genuinely trying to create a dialogue or help people by presenting these things.
Yeah, good.
But they're also writing a sitcom, and they're trying to be funny. Ooh. And they're like 60-year-old guys who used to write for
white
vaudeville.
Guys
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the tone shifts are super weird.
Oof.
And Facts of Life is better than most, but it still suffers from that a little bit. Like specifically the one where Natalie gets assaulted and she's dressed as Oliver Harding.
Okay. Yes, I know.
Which is heartbreaking, but there's a ton of jokes in there.
Yes.
During like the most harrowing scenes. And I think of that one, and I think of the one where Tootie befriends the teenage prostitute in Manhattan.
Oh my gosh. I was just going to say that episode. Yeah.
Which is so grim.
Oh, it's so.
Yeah. But there's jokes in there.
Yeah. Because they're like, we're still making a sitcom.
Yeah.
Like,
And they don't get, the first show that I feel like got that right was Roseanne, because the jokes are very natural in that they're the kind of jokes people make to cope with stuff.
Yes, and they're played as such.
Yes.
Like, it's even like, haha, we're laughing at this because it's so dark. Yeah, it's like
but
real.
They didn't get that right in the other shows. Like there's an episode of Mr. Belvedere, which I don't know if you're familiar with. I am
familiar.
But it was the first show that talked about AIDS on TV.
Was it really?
And a kid, one of Wesley's friends gets AIDS from a blood transfusion. The kid in school, which this is 1985.
Yeah,
like no one talks about this.
No, nobody's talking about
it. But the jokes.
No.
Like he comes in and he's this pathetic, cute little kid. He looks like Stephen King. He comes in and the dad's like, "Hey pal, how you doing?" And the kid goes, "Well, I got AIDS, but other than that, I'm doing pretty good." Like it's very sitcom jokey.
It's very sitcom, like beat, whatever.
Yeah,
like,
and it's hard to watch in context and intent now, knowing that I'm like, no, they're trying to help.
They're trying to do something really good. Yeah, but not doing about it the right way. That's funny that you said that, because I didn't gauge that with the Facts of Life. I actually always thought they did paid really good, good respect to what
they do.
Subject matter.
Comparatively, they do.
But like the points you're making are just.
Yeah, I mean, there's the worst one that makes me super uncomfortable and I feel like does not play well. It's the one with the developmentally disabled guy who's really hot.
Which episode is this?
Oh, it's like season 3 or 4. There's like a guy who's slow and he helps Edna out around the school, but he's like real hunky. And so Blair starts like taking advantage of him.
Oh my gosh.
And it's really uncomfortable. And the jokes are like just so cringy.
Oh my goodness, I don't even remember that.
You might have blocked it out.
I probably stopped watching.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad.
But their hit rate to miss rate was pretty high. Like they did pretty well.
They did a good job.
Especially for, drugs or shoplifting.
I mean, everything. Yeah, shoplifting.
Yeah.
Which is which I was like, ooh, shoplifting. But then you see what they really get into. Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, that was nothing.
Yeah. Do you know Andrew WK, the singer? He had like a big hit. He's like a heavy metal guy. Oh, okay. But I had him on, and he loves Facts of Life.
Oh, I love. Why was he not here now?
Yeah, I know. His favorite episode is the one where they buy Edna bongs. Like they go buy her bongs and like pot pipes, because they don't know what they are.
Yeah, they're like, these are
that
pretty.
One's fantastic. Yeah. There's also
Our girls.
The girls. I just love that show. And they also used to, at the time, they would host Saturday mornings sometimes.
Oh, really?
So, like, because the show's on Saturday night, so, like, sometimes on the NBC's Saturday morning cartoon lineup, it'd be, like, Natalie and Joe sitting on the couch introducing the cartoons for the morning.
It
was great. It was the best.
I'm so jealous because I've never seen those, and I probably never will.
There's some on YouTube.
Oh, okay. I'll look.
And there also used to be a show called Friday Night Videos on NBC that was when everyone didn't have MTV, they basically had Friday Night MTV for, like, poor kids without cable.
Oh, great.
And it would be, it's me too. So it'd be hosted by people who were on shows. So like it would be like Tootie hosts music videos tonight.
That's
and so
awesome.
There's a bunch of those online
That's
too.
crazy. It's crazy how like famous these girls were.
Well, there's only 3 channels.
Yeah.
So everybody watched
it.
At the time, even if you didn't watch a show,
you knew.
Right.
Yeah.
You knew who was on it and you knew what it was.
You knew it was up. Yeah.
There's shows now that are on networks.
And I have no idea.
Yeah, 12 seasons. Never heard of it.
I'm like, who is this?
Yeah.
Lost? Well, I don't know what this is. Okay, I know
Blue
Lost
Bloods?
is, but yeah. Blue Bloods, what is this?
12 seasons.
And somebody will
Yeah.
be like, ooh, the Americans is having their last season. They've been going for 10 years. I'm like, what?
What is that show? I haven't watched
What
it.
do you mean they've been going for 10 years?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Yeah.
But meanwhile, some of the shows I knew about then, I'm like, why did I even have that in my brain? Like, I wasn't ever going to watch that. You know, like, I know about the Charmings, which was a show where Snow White and the Prince are ushered into modern day Burbank, and they have to live with the wicked stepmother, who's the mother-in-law. And
wait, this sounds amazing. What are you talking about?
it's not as good as the concept is.
Wait, is it made? Can I find it somewhere?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where is it?
There's on YouTube. I also have it if you can't find it.
okay, cool.
It's basically the Munsters, but with like.
It's amazing.
Yeah, which I think you
Also,
could,
Dreamroll, Snow White.
yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah,
We
everyone.
cast Snow White from season 1 to season 2 of that too. But you do Snow White well.
The
You know what I haven't seen? Rose Red in a thing. The
Who?
sequel. There was a sequel to Snow White that the Brothers Grimm wrote.
You seem really angry about it too. You're like, I've never seen Rose Red in anything.
What the? Right,
Wait, tell me the story.
Yeah,
is it super dark? Like,
I don't remember the deal. Like when I was a kid, I used to go to the library all the time.
Great.
Because it's free.
Awesome.
And they had this like kids series of fairy tale books. But it was like really deep.
Yeah.
So like
it's a lot of fairy tales.
I got through all the ones everyone knew, and then I'm like into like the B-sides.
Yeah, there
So
are
it was
some weird
like,
ones that are
yeah.
like the donkey and the
The
almond.
Musicians of Brennan and the Brave Little Tailor.
Yeah.
And like those ones. And one of them was Rose Red and Snow White.
Okay, so tell me.
And she's her new stepsister.
Oh, so not related.
So she's like sort of halfway wicked.
Oh, great.
And it was like a really weird, there was like 2 or 3 Rose Red and Snow White
There
books.
was like a lot of that.
Yeah, to the point where I'm like, when I was a kid, I'd be like, oh, I saw Snow White. And I'm like, oh yeah, blah, 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 Rose Red. And they're like, what the hell are you
What are you talking about?
about?
You like thought everyone knew. I
Yeah,
love that.
'cause it's
there
in
were
the
so many
shelf.
of them.
Yeah.
Wait, so was she the prince's? She was half or sister-in-law?
Half. So
Okay,
she wasn't
so
the prince's side. It was on her side.
Oh, okay, great. And just isn't Snow White's?
I think the wicked stepmother dies or something.
Oh,
And
because she's not the fairest.
Right. And her dad like remarries a woman who's like normal, but her daughter's like kind of a
Crazy.
bitch.
Yeah, it's Rose Red.
Yeah.
It's Rose Red.
Yeah.
Which I love that they're like, ooh, my name's Plant Green.
Yeah.
Like,
Snow White, Rose
White.
Red.
Yeah, that's great. Pink
Yes,
flower.
I'm
what?
Dirt Brown.
yeah. I'm Dirt Brown.
Yeah. So no one has heard of it. And I'm like, that's public domain. You could probably
everyone
just
should
make
know
that.
it. Should we just like make a film?
Let's do it.
Of Rose Red.
Everyone loves, it's like a
People
gothy
would
Snow White.
Oh, people love that.
Yeah.
At least I would.
We'd be so rich. We'd make like $1 billion.
We would make like $2.
We could probably just each have our own roller rink.
Oh, amazing.
At that point.
Oh, great. Perfect.
Yeah,
That is my plan to eventually have my own roller.
We could have a 60s airport themed roller rink.
Oh, and everyone wears a uniform.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Can we talk about the fact that like roller derby used to be like wrestling where it was like totally fake?
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
had like alligators in the like pit. Like
Well, that was in the
it was, like,
revival. So it was huge in the 70s. There's a great documentary called Derby. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No.
It's about professional roller derby
love
players in like 1972.
Great.
But it was one of the highest rated televised things.
I'm sure.
The 2 highest rated sports on TV until like the 80s. Roller derby.
And women's wrestling.
Wrestling was up there.
Oh, okay.
Bowling.
I'm so happy you said that.
Yep,
I
bowling.
wouldn't have guessed that, but that's
huge
great.
because it was so cheap to produce.
Yeah.
and everybody loved it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a team sport. And
That's
bowling was like, bowling got better ratings than like the Super Bowl does now.
Crazy.
There's another documentary called The League of Ordinary Gentlemen.
Okay,
about
great title.
guys who were like super famous bowlers, and nobody gives a shit
I
now.
love that.
and it's amazing
That's so fantastic.
because they were huge. They were like major athletes.
Yeah.
But yeah, roller derby was huge, and then it totally went away. And then in 1989, there was a show called American Gladiators.
Yes,
that was
wait, okay, I didn't know there were 2 derby revivals.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm getting an education here.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
no, I'm very grateful.
So American Gladiators was based on a British show called Gladiators.
Okay,
and it was a weird fluke hit. Like, it was huge. So they were like, what else can we do that's like this?
Yeah.
So they were like, we'll bring roller derby back.
Put girls in shorts and have them beat each other up.
But they were like, we need to update it.
Yeah.
So the thing they came up with was they called it Rockin' Roller Games.
Oh.
And the concept was
gosh.
MTV roller derby.
Whoa.
So the teams were like the Rockers and like whatever. And they had a heavy metal band play at halftime.
Cool.
So it'd be like Lita Ford. And actually, there's footage of Debbie Harry playing.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, next to the alligator.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to go home and research this.
All up. There was also a show called like Wizards and Warriors. That was a rip. There was a bunch of other rip-offs too. But Roller Games was the best one.
That's amazing.
But they put in an alligator pit and it was. But the actual event was real. But they would have like scripted.
They would have like sort of things where like, I'm mad at you, or here's an alligator, push you into the alligator pit.
Also, I should mention G.L.O.W was huge.
Oh, G.L.O.W, the wrestling.
The actual
G.L.O W.
the
actual.
So they
there's a TV
tried
show
to do that as
based
well.
On,
Which I haven't seen, but I've heard it's good.
There's a digital streaming show.
But I heard it was great.
It's very good.
Yeah.
At first I was like, do I like this? Because there's a lot of scenes of, what is her name from Community? I forget her name.
Alison Brie.
Yeah, of course, thank you, Alison Brie. Doing a lot of fake bad acting, which she does very well. She's very good at.
Which is hard to do.
Which is very hard to do, especially if you're an actor. And I appreciate her and her sacrificing that because it is so cringy. It is, and I never say cringy because it's overused, but it is actually cringy.
Intentionally cringy.
Yeah, intentionally. And I'm like, I can't watch this. It's very interesting. And then there's like her best friend. I'm not going to give too much away since you haven't seen it. But then it's like her best friend who she like slept with her husband, and she's like angry, and she comes to this like, the G.L.O.W auditions and like slaps her, and she's like this hot blonde girl. And then you kind of, even though Alison Brie's character is supposed to be like the bad guy, she's like very endearing and likable because she's kind of like just like this skinny like
I think that's her, like she
brunette,
brings
like,
that
sweet girl. And so they're like, she's like, I'm like kind of like, dude, why'd you slap her? Like feel bad for her, like maybe be mad at your husband, like you guys are best friends,
be mad at them.
Anyway, so it's a whole thing.
I watched G.L.O.W when it aired, like the actual
real
G.L.O.W.
one.
It was on Saturday afternoons, and it was crazy, and that was a weird huge hit, mostly because dads were like, oh yeah. But so
dads.
They tried to bring that element
the main
in
demo we're all looking for.
They actually, the third thing they tried to do was Jackie Stallone, Sylvester Stallone's mother, started a thing called Foxy Boxing.
Okay.
That was like topless ladies boxing. And it was, and she was actually on the first season of G.L.O.W. She was like an original like investor.
Whoa.
And then had a falling out. So she's like, I'm going to go do my own thing.
Foxy boxing.
I'm going to make it more extreme.
Yeah, and it's going to rhyme.
It was like pay-per-view. And it was like this weird late 80s
very
sleazy.
Strange.
Yeah. We also at the time put in context like mud wrestling was big and like G.L.O. wrestling, like it was like a whole, I don't know what was going on.
That's a whole thing. Something was happening.
But it all fell into this weird category.
Yeah.
And Rock and Roller Games was kind of fell under that, but managed to be pretty cool.
It was legitimate. People kept their clothes on them for that. And they were real athletes.
Yeah. But it still was silly. Like it still had the trappings of those other shows.
Totally, yeah.
And then in the next revival, which was like late 90s, early 2000s, they were like, oh, forget all that.
They were like, that's garbage. We're just going to like be actual athletes. Yeah. They're like, that's nonsense.
So you were participating in the better one.
Yeah, in the new one. Yeah, it's funny. It's actually like, there's like a campaign to make roller derby part of the Olympics because flat track, there's flat track and big track. Mm-hmm. So big track is like what the original and the revival was, where you skate on a track that is banked. It's like a curve downward for people who can't see my hands. I'm trying to like make
making downward
motions. So you're basically like skating sideways on a hill.
Yeah.
While getting hit. And then there's flat track roller derby, which is like very, very intense. And it's all about athleticism and like strategy, and the rules are very different for big track and flat track.
So really don't, there's like a person who's like basically the ball, like they have to score.
Yes.
That's you kind of fling them around.
That's literally
every time they do a lap that counts as score.
Yeah.
There are people who try to basically stop them from doing a lap, and people who try to keep the people from stopping them doing a lap.
Exactly. It's crazy. It's like, basically what you just said. I never even thought about that way. Like a person's being the ball, which is so scary.
Yeah.
And bank track's like really intense. Like they're each like round or whatever is like longer, and they have way different rules. Like you can like stop and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. And it's like, it's really crazy, and it gets pretty physical because it's like you get a point for every like person you pass. So
Yeah.
every hip you pass.
Yeah.
So it's like there were like girls like at the last second like throwing themselves past other girls, and like everyone's on skates.
Girls get vicious
Girls
too.
are it. Yeah, they're
yeah.
like, ooh, yeah.
They are competitive and vicious in those
Yes.
games. And there was male roller derby in the 70s.
Yeah, there still is male roller derby.
But it's not that exciting.
Yeah.
Like they don't play as hard.
They're kind of just like, eh.
Yeah, they're like, hey dude, what's up? They're like
What's
punching
up?
a clock. And,
No, yeah.
But like when like female roller derby is more like rollerball.
Yeah,
the James Caan movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
very good. Yeah, it's really intense.
Yeah,
it's
I could not do it. But yeah, it was these weird revivals, and then Facts of Life was even a revival because there were not any shows in the 70s that were about teenage girls.
Oh.
And in the 60s there had been.
for them.
There was a few. And it was like 10 years of like, eh. And then they
We don't
realized
need
that
it.
they were like, this
We
is
don't
an
need it.
audience.
Girls don't need
Yeah.
influences in media. That's
And then
fine.
meanwhile they're like, oh, they actually spend all the money.
Wait a sec. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. So what is your favorite episode, and who are you? Which girl are you?
My
Wait.
favorite-
Also, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I'm the worst podcast.
No, you're the
guest
best
ever.
guest,
No,
yeah.
I'm terrible. Okay. Did you ever get weird feelings about Joe's boyfriend? I have a lot of Joe opinions. Clearly.
Yes.
Okay.
The guy who was the comedian, not the comedian, he was like kind of the goofy guy.
No. Was he
Which
a
boyfriend?
goofy? The boyfriend that
the
was
military
like off,
academy
the military guy.
Oh, he was a dick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was also played by Scott Baio's brother.
Oh, interesting.
So that might be part of the problem.
the facts of
yeah,
life.
Yeah. They tried to make a spin-off of that military academy.
I know they did.
Yeah. Because there's
Failed.
that backdoor pilot episode where you're like,
Yeah.
where are the
You're like,
girls?
what is
What's
this?
happening?
What is
Yeah.
this? Nobody wants to see that.
Facts Life has the record for the most
Spin-offs?
failed backdoor pilots.
I believe it. How many do they have?
12.
12?
Yeah.
Wait, no.
5 of them are in the last season.
Well, yeah, the end finale is
Yeah.
a spinoff.
Which would have been great.
Which would have been great. I would have watched it.
They tried to do a spin-off with Paul. I did have Paul Provenza on, actually, now that I think about it, who was Joe's boyfriend in the later
gotcha.
seasons.
Yes.
But they tried to do a spin-off about the youth home
Yes.
that they
Oh,
worked at.
true, yes.
They tried to do the spin-off where Natalie lived with David Spade and Richard Grieco. Remember that one?
Great.
She moves to New York. It was just... they were just desperate to keep the show going.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, because it was a hit. They were like, we can do more. What more can we do?
show
And it was
me-
already a spinoff. How many
Yeah.
spinoffs are you going to make?
Yeah, it was a spin-off already, yeah.
Yeah.
And Golden Girls had a spin-off of a spin-off.
Empty Nest had a spinoff?
Yep. Nurses.
No. Ooh,
Yeah.
nurses.
It was his assistant lady, the southern lady who's
Oh,
in
yeah.
Blossoms. It was like her nurse's station
Oh,
and like all
great.
the people that worked
How
for
did
her.
it do? Not well.
I mean, it made like a season.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like Joey.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't talk about it.
But my favorite episode, See, I lived over our heads era, and like basically I've just tried to make my home that store. Like that's been my lifelong goal because I'm like giant Gumbies, and, like neon sign. Like that was
like,
just
yes!
yeah. And I love McKenzie Astin on that show. He's so funny. And I love the Garbage Pail Kids movie plus George Clooney as George.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, fantastic.
I had a huge crush on Pippa, the Australian exchange student that was in the last season.
yes.
Who
Yes.
is now a country musician living in Nashville, Tennessee under the name Sherrie Austin.
Under the name? What is
Sherrie Krenn is her real name.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's
Wow,
like-
you called her out.
Yeah. We know you're not really from Tennessee, Australian girl.
We know the deal.
Yeah, that was in our weird American obsession with Australia for like a year.
Yeah. We were like, what?
It's so cool.
It's so cool.
There was a-
They speak slightly different than us.
There was a guy who got hugely famous there for about 10 minutes from Australia,
Really?
and he was a rugby player named Jocko.
Jocko.
And he was this Australian guy with like a buzz cut, and he always wore a leotard. And he had his own TV show. He was in
Good for
Energizer commercials,
Ooh.
and his catchphrase was "Oi." So he-
Oh, that's it.
That was
Okay,
it.
that's
That was
it.
it. So he'd be like Energizer, "Oi!"
Great.
And that was that same year.
Fantastic.
So I like. Oh, I know exactly what it is.
Okay, tell me.
Seven Little Indians. It's
one is
the episode where it's the murder mystery episode, and they have Maurice LaMarce is playing Rod Serling, and he's talking to the camera.
What?
Yeah.
I can't even place this.
It's from '87. It's like a Halloween special, and it ends up being a dream. They all get back from a movie,
Oh, yes. I know what you're talking about.
and
Yes,
he keeps
yes.
going Tootie. I like saying Tootie.
Tootie.
And there's one of the lines he goes. He's doing the Rod Serling thing, and he goes, "We don't know. I don't know you, and you don't know me." Like it's this whole weird. It's very funny.
I love this. Okay, wait.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
Yeah, I mean, that's also the first era of that show I remember specifically watching as it aired. Like I was 6 or 7.
Oh, gotcha. You were like, it's on.
Yeah,
for real.
yeah.
It's
And I
for
also
real
watched in reruns. So like I think I have like more of an affinity for it too. 227 was the other show that aired on Saturday nights with that, which I also liked. So that's up there.
Okay, wait, but I just think I discovered what my favorite episode is today.
Okay.
Today, even though I like talked all that smack about how I love the first 4 seasons. Okay, but I am gonna say, and it's like the weird thing because I've already said it so many times. I love Joe. I have like a thing for like the bad girl with the heart of gold. I mean, it's basically me and the character I play.
The tomboy.
Yeah,
beautiful.
I mean, it's the character I'm playing right now. And she's beautiful and she doesn't know, and she really is a good person, but like she's like she had a tough upbringing. Whatever.
Leather jackets, man.
Yeah, it's a thing. Also, I love that she was like 12 when it started, and she was the youngest, but was playing this like very strong female character. Along those lines, I love the episode when what is her name? She is the showrunner of Better Things.
Oh, Pamela Adlon.
Yes, when she was on the show.
She's the new Joe.
Yes, because she's the new Joe. And then Joe's like, was that what I was like? Or whatever. Yeah, she's like, she's a little scamp. Yeah. And I'm like, you were like that 4 seasons ago.
Yeah, they tried to make her have a spinoff as well.
Oh, they did?
And she also got her own show spinning off from Give Me a Break.
Oh.
Which was Nell Carter. And they tried to give her a show where her and Don Rickles lived together.
Random.
Yeah, it was really weird. She was on a ton of shows. She was also in a movie called Willy Millie, where
sounds like a barn burner.
Girl wakes up as a boy.
What?
Yeah. and she plays both.
Great.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a weird, fun movie. It was bizarre.
Does it have a good message? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a better message than just one of the guys.
Okay.
But
cool.
Yeah. It's a weird movie, but she's very good in it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I love those ones, and I also really, really love the episodes where they have the band called Sexy Lingerie.
When was this? You remember so much more than me.
Well,
I'm so jealous.
You should take that as an asset that you have a brain that's using it for things other than this.
No, it's only because I stopped watching Facts of Life and started watching Golden Girls.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's probably the right move. But Andy, who's McKenzie Astin, enters them in a radio contest as a band.
Oh, great. Because, of course, they are.
Yeah, and they're like, what are you doing?
No.
And he's like, yeah, no, I joined your band. And they're like, what did you name us? He's like, Sexy Lingerie. And they like have to go sing on this radio.
My God.
It's really funny.
Wait, that's hilarious.
The Christmas one's really good. Christmas in the Big House, where they have to put on the Christmas show for the prisoners.
Yes. That one is good.
I like that one. I hate The Christmas Baby, which is the one where Blair's mother's like, oh, I'm pregnant, I'm going to get an abortion.
Oh.
And she's like, don't do that. We can have the baby. And then they have the baby at Christmas, and like the baby narrates the episode.
What?
Yeah,
I can't with that. That's, no, thank you.
I do genuinely love the prostitute one.
That one's really good.
I think that's the best example of that show doing what that show does.
Yeah. No, that is a really good episode. And it's not one that I like want to watch a million times. I think that's actually one of the episodes that I've only seen once, which is very rare. You kind of only
need to see it once.
Yeah, you only need to see it once, and it's like, that's a good one.
The best overly dramatic episode is the one where Blair gets in the car accident. And
I don't even remember that.
She gets.
I just couldn't with Blair. I kind of just ignored her. I'm sorry.
She's a bad person on that show.
She's genuinely not a good person, and I don't think people really realize that. It's funny because I love these sort of shows like Golden Girls, Facts of Life, like whatever, Sex and the City, because you have like 4 women, and anyone can like pick one and relate to them, which I thought it was great. Obviously, I thought it was Joe, and then later I was like, wait, maybe I want to be Natalie, and then I was like, oh guys, I'm really funny, look at me, and then like people were like, no, be quiet, you're Joe.
Yeah, you're Joe.
What was I saying? I don't even remember.
Anyway, there's like a bad person.
Yeah, there's a bad person, and then but then it's like she's actually not a good person. Like we see it time and time again. She's like selfish, and
even when they try to make her do something nice for somebody, it's not. It's like, I wrote you a check.
Yeah,
it's like what? It's really patronizing.
It's weird, and they actually like created that character for her. Yeah, which is even weirder that they like made it this. I don't know. And people are like, I love her. She's so pretty. I'm like, but if you actually like as an adult look at it, you're like, oh, she's not nice. Yeah. She's bad. And somebody should have told her, like, you're not nice.
I think there was like the ugly inside thing, but she was the biggest star on that show when it first
I'm
cast.
sure.
She was on the Mickey Mouse Club in the 70s. And I don't know if you know this. This is 100% true. She was the World Youth Champion ventriloquist 3 years in a row.
What?
Yes.
What?
Lisa Whelchel is like super into ventriloquism, like 11.
What? So before.
Yes, before Facts of Life. But they do have an episode where she does ventriloquism. Like,
how do I not remember all this?
This is later seasons. You probably jumped
skipped through it.
Yeah, but there was like footage of her 12, like on like doing ventriloquism with. It's really weird.
Very cool.
Yeah,
I'm kind of obsessed with that.
But then Nancy McKeon was like the golden girl because she, no pun intended, because she was dating Michael J. Fox.
Oh,
and they were in like a made-for-TV movie together.
Yeah, wasn't she the one that kind of blew up out of this?
Big time.
Yeah, I feel like she's the one that. I don't know, but I've read some things where they're like the girls were jealous.
They all hated each other, and there was a real. They don't now, but. There was like real competition, and then like the network was big on like she's prettier than you, she's thinner than you.
And then they like got the nutritionist and the personal trainer for what's her name, and
it was awful.
Yeah. And also to grow up in it. Like I was in a show similar called Bunheads on ABC Family where it was 4 girls and we all had very different personalities, but I was 18. Like I was a grown-up person and I'm overly confident.
And that was shot like a movie though too, right? Like wasn't that more like a single
it wasn't
show?
A sitcom. Yeah. So it wasn't like, it wasn't
like 24 episodes every week.
Exactly.
Being with the same people, cameras,
totally. And
during the most awkward years of your life.
Exactly. That you don't want documented. But we actually the opposite. One of our like lead girls, like I guess she's sort of our Blair, I guess. I don't know.
Were you the Joe on that show?
My character played roller derby.
Nice.
Am I the Joe? I don't know. We were like slightly skewed. Like we were the 4, but like skewed slightly to like one side. There was like my character was like at first she was like a social butterfly, like really like just goofy and funny, and then like in the later season she became like kind of like a hardcore roller derby player.
Okay.
And then there was like her best friend named. Oh my gosh, what was her? Jenny.
Okay.
And she was like cutesy and like she like loved to sing.
Girly girl,
and like she's like very cute and she had like bleached out white hair, blonde hair. And then there was Boo, and this is what I meant when I said the opposite of Facts of Life is she was actually a girl that was supposed to be bigger. Like they were searching for like a ballerina who was like a little bit bigger, like curvy. And her whole thing is she's like the best dancer. She has like a heart of gold. She loves dancing more than anything. Shout out to my favorite movie, Center Stage. But she did like quote unquote didn't have the body type.
But she has talent.
So she has the talent and everything balances out, and she's like amazing. She's an amazing dancer. And then there was the girl who like hated dance. She was like the mean girl. I guess she's the Blair. And she was like, I hate dancing.
Just want me to do this.
But like I'm so skinny and like I have good feet or whatever. Yeah, whatever it was. And
we've all been there.
Yeah, of course, we've all been there. And then she had her own story where it was like very sad where her parents didn't pay attention to her because she's like a rich girl. Right. Anyway, but our show did the exact opposite. They were like, don't lose any weight, please. We want to like present this body positive image to like girls and specifically dancers because there is so much like weight, I'm not a psychiatrist. I can't diagnose people, but there is like body dysmorphia and stuff in
absolutely.
dance. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's like very, very sad. But
for years that was never. It's kind of amazing that even that it was probably 20 years difference between those two shows.
Yeah,
that's a pretty big change.
Yeah, it's the opposite change. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, because for years it was just you could not have because even like Natalie. She actually isn't really even that chubby.
No.
It's usually later, like, and now would not be considered that way.
And then she got, like, really skinny at the end, and I was like, girl. I'm like, girl, eat something.
Big sweaters. When Tootie got boobs, and they really had to hide it.
Oh, my God, yes.
Even as a kid, I'm like, what's happening
here? What? Yeah.
That sweater is way too big.
It's ginormous.
What's happened?
That's crazy.
Because she was still trying to play, like, the youngest
cute.
one.
Like, hey, I'm Tootie,
And it's like, no, she's like Jackie Harry now, but you're like, that sweater is like a 4X.
Yeah, everyone's like trying to make her. Oh, that's so funny though, because we actually had the Jenny character that my character was best friends with. Her whole storyline was that she had a big chest and she felt insecure about that because she was a dancer. Wait, our show was literally the mirror image of Facts of Life. Now that we're talking about it,
we've had a breakthrough.
I love it. Thank you, Amy Palladino. Great job.
It's funny the things that they didn't exploit or the weird stuff they were trying to cover.
Yeah, they're like, let's talk about all these hard hitting issues about like real life, whatever, but let's like cover up these things.
Yeah.
Like, hold on.
But then also do the things we're telling people not to do.
No, for sure. They're like, let's have an episode about
it's super weird. But did you ever see the made for TV movie Poison Ivy?
No. What is this?
Is
it DC? It's obviously DC. Or it's an unrelated.
No, unrelated.
Oh, unrelated.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's in the 80s and in the 70s too, the contracts that all these teen actors had basically said that like in off season you have to make a made for TV movie.
Yes.
So they started doing a bunch, but then they realized we could do like an all-star made for TV, like Camp Cucamonga.
Oh, gotcha. With everyone. Bring everyone in.
Everyone in. It'll be more efficient.
Great.
So there's one that's set in a camp, and it's called Poison Ivy, and it's Nancy McKeon and Michael J. Fox, and they're like a will they, won't they adversary, women's camp, boys camp. But it's like a super fun movie, and if you're a Joe fan, she's basically just playing Joe.
Oh, I love
But I realized my favorite episodes are the ones with Joe's dad. Alex Rocco.
I can't even. Okay, now that you brought that up, I have to switch my answer before. Oh my gosh, all the Joe's Dad's episodes are everything.
Yeah.
Oh my
He's from Boston, Alex Rocco.
Really?
He was actually in the Winter Hill gang, the Whitey Bulger gang, when he was a kid. And he got in trouble, and his dad sent him out here to live with Leonard Nimoy, who's from Boston.
Okay, great.
And Leonard Nimoy had like an acting class.
Yeah.
So he was like, all right, kid, we're acting. So that's how he got in acting. Oh. And he always got cast as like a scumbag or like a New York guy for some reason, even though he has the heaviest Boston accent ever. Like he sounds like everyone's dad I grew up with, but no one ever noticed. But to me as a kid, I didn't
notice, but everyone noticed.
Yeah, I didn't really know the accent thing, but when I'd hear people with a Boston accent, to me, it registered as, oh, that guy's a real person. I was real little. You know what I mean?
That's a real person. That's a fake
Why
person.
do they talk like a real person? And,
I get it.
Yeah.
Like when you think people like put on like an affect or whatever.
Yeah, like I got that they were being
that
a character.
person sounds like they're talking to a radio station.
Yeah.
Like I get it. Yeah.
How did a real guy get on the show?
Yeah.
Normally I would see that on like People's Court, but it was weird to see him there.
Love People's Court.
But he's so like the pathos for him because he's not painted as just like a scumbag. Yeah. He's really trying.
It's actually the opposite. Yeah. It's like a real character.
Yeah.
It's like, and again, with like what they were being a groundbreaking show, I think that's the first time where there's sort of like, or at least what I know, that there's like sort of an anti-hero in a sitcom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the Batman thing of like, this person has been painted for many episodes as like not a good person. Yeah. And then we meet him, we were like, oh wait, you're like,
it's complicated.
You're a person. It's the gray area. Yeah. You're a father. You're like this.
He didn't just leave. He loves his kid and he's trying to make amends. And that's really weird for a show like that. Like you wouldn't normally get that. And I think that Nancy McKeon played it really well because she had justifiable animosity towards him.
Totally. But also at that age, you're like, I get it. At that age, I would be that way too.
Yeah, but also like, oh, he's my dad. And as I get older, I realize he's just a human and he's got failures and I feel sorry for him. And that, even as a little kid, resonated with me. So, I love Facts of Life.
It's so good. It's just...
It gets written off though. Like
It does?
People won't watch 3-camera sitcoms. They think they're silly or old-fashioned or like bad, like especially younger people because they're so used to
everyone's like Broad City. I'm like, get over
here. But it's like, and I always say there are a lot of bad 3-camera sitcoms. Sure, there's a lot of bad single-cam sitcoms, but 3-camera or multicam is really hard to do well.
I'm sure.
And the ones that are good are unbelievable.
Well, and they go for like 14 seasons. Yeah.
Taxi, Cheers, Barney Miller, like Mary Tyler Moore. Like these shows are so great because they don't have the luxury of being able to use like cinematic tricks and like cutaways. So they have to just have a great cast and good dialogue.
Like literally just like, yeah, exactly. And
it's
like good storylines.
Episode every week. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. That's interesting. I've never thought of it that way.
Have you gone back and watched any of the Golden Girls girls in any of their previous sitcoms?
No, I like to keep them in their own space.
Because I'd love to hear your reaction to those.
I haven't seen them. I haven't seen any of them.
But like Maude, which is B. Arthur.
Yeah.
She's playing.
What I've heard is that they all play themselves and everything.
Yes and no.
Oh, okay.
So the fascinating thing, and you may have encountered this already, but Rue McClanahan and Betty White are playing completely against type on Golden Girls. And Betty White always played like a vampy, horned up lady.
What?
Yes.
She was gonna be Blanche originally. And then they're like, wait, no, she's cute.
But that's the character she always played. She was on Mary Tyler Moore and was always like this kind of ball buster, like man-eater.
Oh my gosh, I have to see this.
And it's cool that she kills it. Like she's so good at it. And so I had always watched her on that. And when I saw her on that, it was weird. But she's so good.
I know, you're like, wait, what? But she's so good. Yeah. Like acting.
And Rue McClanahan was always like a like a very innocent kind of hick character.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
An innocent hick, you
Yeah,
know.
like she was on Mama's Family and was always like, my stars.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. And now
But-
she's like...
Yeah, and they made her, like, sexed her up and it worked.
A lot.
It's so
it
weird.
totally worked.
Yeah.
And then B. Arthur's herself.
B. Arthur's always B. Arthur.
Yeah.
But if you're a B. Arthur fan and you just want to
I know.
mainline B. Arthur, Maude is like the most B. Arthur
Really?
gets.
Okay, I'm going to have to watch that.
And it's actually her husband on that show, who is a guy named Bill Macy, which is why William H. Macy has a fake H in his name.
Oh, great.
Because
Good for
Bill
him. He
Macy
needed
was
it.
already
Yeah.
in the SAG, is from Revere, Mass. And he also has a glorious old man Boston accent. So he's always like, "Oh, come on, Maud!"
Oh,
like it's like this. It's very funny.
Okay, I'm gonna have to watch that for sure.
I'd be curious what you think of it because it's weird. It's like seeing pictures of your parents when they were teenagers. You're like,
wait
you
a
were
sec.
young.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
You're a different
You had a
person.
life? No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, have you heard that story about Betty White and the cat?
No.
Oh my gosh. So this is like a BTS behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So apparently, and this is so cruel, and I don't like telling this story, but it just shows how like lovely and like kind she is. Apparently the crew like pulled a prank on her, which is like, that's so mean.
Yeah.
And they told her there's like a cat stuck in one of the sets, and they like made a recording of her, and I think it's somewhere on the internet, and they like played like meow sounds or something. I don't even know if they played meow sounds.
Oh, it's a Bloopers and Practical Jokes. They did it on a TV show. They did it to her.
Oh, they did it? Yeah, have you seen this though? You know what I'm
I
talking about?
remember it when it aired, but I don't.
And
yeah.
she's like, "Oh, Kitty, it's gonna be okay, Kitty. We're
Yeah.
gonna get you out. I love you so much." Oh,
Yeah.
it made my heart.
There was a show that Dick Clark and Ed McMahon hosted called TV's Bloopers and
Oh, it
Practical
was a TV
Jokes.
show. Okay, good. That makes me feel a little
Yeah.
bit better about it because before I was like, "This is so cruel."
Yeah, but some of their jokes were real cruel. They literally, and I'm not making this up, they played a joke on Stevie Wonder
What?
where they
I don't
moved
know.
all the stuff in his house.
Stop.
And they were like, "We didn't have to hide the cameras."
Oh,
And he was like, he played along. But I'm like, even as a kid, I was like, I don't think this is okay. I don't think you can do
That's
this.
not okay.
No. And normally, like, they did one on John Larroquette once where, like, he's like an old, rare book collector.
Okay.
So they had him and his wife go to, like, some auction, and his wife was in on it. So she ends up bidding, like, $1 billion for some book that he knows is worthless. And he's like, what are you doing?
Oh, my God.
So stuff like
Divorce.
that.
No, just kidding.
Yeah, it was normally stuff like that. But
Okay, that's
sometimes-
lighthearted. That's fine. Oh, my gosh,
But
that's
some of them
terrible.
got pretty
bad.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
There's an ice cream place in the North Shore of Boston called Putnam Pantry that's been there forever.
Great. Is it in Putnam County?
The people who opened it were Putnams.
Putnam, okay, cool.
From the Putnam family.
Oh, ooh la la.
Yeah. Ooh. And they have a thing called an ice cream smorgasbord. It's a toppings bar.
Great.
But it opened in like the 30s and or 40s. And for the grand opening, Betty White was the celebrity who cut the ribbon.
What?
And so they have all these photos of like young Betty White in this place. It's pretty cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, when are we going?
We can go. We'll go right after roller skating.
Great.
Oh god, I used to go there when in like my most depressed, lonely teenage years because they used to have this. They still have it. It's an ice cream called the Battle of Bunker Hill.
That sounds amazing.
It's 17 scoops.
Great.
It costs $17.76.
That's a great deal for 17
Yep.
scoops.
So I would often just get one and eat it by myself.
Do you get to pick the flavors?
Yeah.
Or they? Oh.
Pick the flavors. Put all the toppings on yourself.
Oh yeah. That's the right way.
Stare
to
at Betty
do it.
White. Yeah.
That's great. Stare at Betty White pictures.
But it's one of those stores that seems to only be run by teenagers. Like you've never seen an adult.
Yeah,
in
you're
there.
like nobody with a driver's license works
Yeah,
here.
so they hate everything you do,
Great.
and like whenever I'd order that, because they were probably my age at the time, they'd be like,
Ugh. Yeah.
and I would love to, and I wouldn't love to hear like what they would say about me at the time.
Oh my gosh, they probably spit in your ice
That
cream. No, just
dude
kidding.
is here
That's so
again and
gross.
just eating the ice
He eats so
cream.
much ice cream. He loves Betty White.
What
what
is
is
this person? Yeah, but that every time I'm like, this Betty White thing, she's been around for so long.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny that those people that like, we like remember as a certain age are like adults now?
Yeah.
Like I think that's
Oh, yeah.
super like funny. Like because I kind of remember people in my life as like characters of like
Yeah.
that. Like that girl I went to elementary school with, but now she's like an adult grown person. I'm like what?
You know what freaks me out so much is that all my friends who have kids, their kids are now kind of the age that I identify with the person. So it's like kids that I used to hang out with when I was like
Gotcha.
7. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I understand.
And their kid looks like how I remember
them, yeah.
Which is really weird.
You're like that's weird. That's
yeah,
weird.
Yeah, because like when I'm like, oh, remember we used to be kids and we hang out with that kid?
With that kid right there.
Yeah.
Wait a sec. Do I know you?
Yeah, it's weird. Like that's a weird. I don't know if I had kids, I wouldn't look at it that way or what.
Yeah,
but
maybe. I don't
it's just
know.
a weird. Like I recognize that it's odd, but it's so funny how
No,
much
it
they
makes
look.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And those are the people that you recognize. Yeah, and it's weird that those people people are now like adults and probably like someone's dad.
Yeah, or like normal, like okay people. Because kids are terrible.
I'm like, no, you're an eye-rolling teenage girl who's mad that I came here to do the thing that actually you do here.
Exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah. Check out books at the library.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Oh my God.
So angry, so aggressive.
Yeah. But that's what teenage jobs are for.
Yeah, true.
Did you ever have like a teenage job? Or
no, I wish. People ask me this all the time. They're like, "What was your first job?" Ooh, like so, like expecting me to be like, "Oh, I was like a chimney sweeper or whatever." Like,
oh, of course, the classic children's job.
Yeah, the classic children's job. No, my first job was a model.
Yeah,
so I always was a model. It was so stupid, but it was like hard work. You know, like my first trip was to Tokyo, and then right after that, I went to China, and you like work 20 hours a day.
Yeah,
you don't sit down.
And your mom didn't go with you?
No.
Yeah.
It's hard work.
Yeah.
But you cut the check, you know? You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And make your own opportunities. So,
yeah, so many people I know who are actors started as models, and it's like, oh, acting was so easy after.
Oh, yeah. And that's why I kind of feel like I'm so, like, I try to be super grateful and I try to be super humble, but like sometimes when I'm like, why are all these people late for work? And I was here 30 minutes early. Yeah. I kind of think it comes from that modeling world where like, you know, you learn to like be professional and respectful and not take things for granted. And you're very grateful to be able to sit down is nice. I love sitting.
Sitting down is
and being
fantastic.
Able to talk is nice.
Oh, I should get you a chair. I've made her. She's been standing up for an hour.
I've been sitting this the whole time.
I never had like I always wanted to work like in a video store, like at the beach, in an ice cream stand.
Did you have one?
Oh yeah, we had a video store called Video Gallery.
No. Did you have a job?
Oh yeah. Well, I worked in restaurants and like prep kitchens, and then
cool.
I worked.
What do you mean?
It was so hard. Like I had to like devein shrimp and
no, that sounds terrible. But like that's like good work that like makes you a human.
It was good work and it was character building, and I like made money. But I always wanted like I wanted like a Saved by the Bell summer job. You know what I mean? Yeah. I wanted to be like a lifeguard for the summer. Yeah, and have like
I don't know what that's about, but like I always watch those like Superstore or like whatever, where it's like, oh, that's like it's funny like
and it's like social, you know, and you're like,
totally
to be like a cool girl there, and have like a summer
thing. Day for the summer.
Yeah.
But then you watch things like Adventureland, and you're like, ooh, maybe I don't want that job.
Yes, Adventureland was like kind of like, oh, that'd be so great.
Yeah.
You know?
Even though it was like super dark.
Yeah.
But that's the same thought I had. I was like, ooh, what if I like worked in like Meadow Summer Love?
Yeah. Just to be like a lifeguard for the summer, like go to camp. Like I never did any of that stuff.
Counselor. No, never.
Yeah, I worked in a t-shirt printing factory.
Okay, factory.
Yeah, it was
keyword factory.
That job was awful. And just like hot screen printing, and I was like 15.
Did you get free t-shirts?
I got a discount, but I had to make my own shirts at night for the band.
My gosh. Okay.
Yeah. And then I taught martial arts to kids.
What did you teach?
I taught Kempo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
Kempo's it's like a street fighting hand style. It's like very self-defensive. I always wanted to do wushu.
Okay. Again, don't know what that is.
Wushu's like a southern Chinese martial art.
Okay.
Very traditional. And Donnie Yen, the actor who's in Star Wars Rogue One.
Okay.
He's from Boston. He grew up in Chinatown.
Cool.
And his mother, Master Bosun Mok, is like the world's oldest still living greatest practitioner of wushu.
Oh, wow.
And she teaches in Boston. She's like 9. You could still go. And I'm always like, I'd so love to. You can just go.
I keep trying to get you to do things with me. That's really weird. I'm not hitting on you. I'm sorry.
No, we have a whole list.
Like,
we're we should pitch this reality show.
That's great. Yeah.
But you could just go. But I'm always like, I don't have time to like really get into it. But I taught kids martial arts because I got free lessons.
I love that.
Like a little bit of money.
That's a cool job.
And I also used to flip comic collections.
Okay, sketchy. No, just
no. So what I would do is like,
you can't like upgrade them. Like you can't like clean them.
No, but what I would do is
in the higher grade.
Yeah, just like yeah. In the late '80s, everyone was getting rid of comics. So people that grew up in the 70s and 80s, like they were in college.
We're done. We have too many of them.
Yeah, so I would go to like flea markets. I'm like 10, and I would buy I'll be like, I'll give you $20 for the whole thing, and then I would cherry pick what I wanted, and then I would go to the comic store and sell the rest for a profit.
That's great. So that's actually very smart.
I did, and then so I did that for 5 years.
That's great. So you were a con artist.
I was a con artist.
No, I'm kidding.
And then I also ran a check cashing scheme. And I was a faith healer for a while.
You're like active 10-year-old. No, that's actually very cool.
But because I was like, I get comics, I get some pocket money.
Totally.
Yeah. And then when I was in college, I sold rare videotapes.
Okay. Yes.
Because like out of print VHS tapes of movies that are hard to find, I would sell and hunt things down.
Wait, there's a VHS that I've been trying to find my whole life. I'm gonna see if you can. I'm gonna tell you what it is right now. Ready? Okay. So you know how they have like the off-brand version of Disney films. Mm-hmm. So there is an off-brand quote. That's so rude to say because it's a full production, like
store brand.
Yeah. It's like no, it's a full production. It's just like the Australian version of Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I think actually pretty different than the animated Peter Pan that Disney
Is it
did.
live action?
No, it's animated.
Because there's a Filmation one from 85.
Oh, there is?
That is very good.
I love that you know everything.
It's not a
I love that you know
useful
everything.
skill. Well, thank you. They're one of the few people who enjoyed it. There's also a Japanese one that they dubbed in from the 60s but released in the 80s.
Oh. I'm going to have to do more research on this.
But there are a few that I know I could get for you.
It's like something. Anyway, but that's not even the thing that I wanted. The thing that I want is at the end of this Australian Peter Pan, there is a like mini video at the end, and it's like, I can picture in my head, but it's like 2 robot people, and they're like in a factory, and like they're like made out of factory parts, something like that. And maybe they have a dog that's also a robot.
Oh, it's a Robot Man.
What?
Robot Man.
What's Robot Man?
Look up Robot Man.
Oh my gosh,
look up Robot Man comic strip.
Wait, oh my gosh. Oh darn. Oh wait.
I hope this is it now.
Wait, I have to okay, wait. Oh shoot, 1 second. Wait, this has to be Robot Man.
It was a newspaper comic strip, and then they made a cartoon out of it. Short-lived cartoon. And there was like toys and stuff, but not the Doom Patrol Robot Man.
Okay, wait. Robot Man. Oh my gosh, if this is it, I'm so happy because I've been talking about this for my entire life. You have no idea.
This is what I do.
I'm always like, this weird Australian Peter Pan. At the end, there's this other video. Okay, wait.
Robot Man comic strip, right?
But there's like a man. There's like a woman.
Yeah,
maybe
there's a man and a woman and a dog. Yeah.
Comics.
They're like yellow and red.
Maybe. No, they were like... no.
It's not Robot Man.
No. No, it was like more... now I'm sad. No,
Sorry.
It was like more... No, it's okay. No, they were like beige. It was like very simple. It was like... They were like made out of blocks. Like it was like... Dude, like... I don't know.
It was animated.
It was animated. Yeah, it wasn't real. It wasn't real people made of blocks.
No, but it wasn't like stop motion.
No.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I had to think about it. I was like, wait.
I know who could answer this. I'll get you an answer.
Who?
I know a few people who are literally animation historians.
Oh my gosh.
And they would know.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
I'll solve this mystery.
Oh my
for
goodness.
You. Yeah.
Another thing that took me forever to figure out is there's a film about like a kid who goes to like this piano school and it's like a really long keyboard.
Oh, the 5,000 Fingers of Dr.
Yes.
T.
And I saw this thing when I was a kid and I couldn't find it ever and I finally figured it out. And that was like, it was like such a relief. A weight
Dr.
off my
Seuss's
life.
only live action movie.
Yes. And very dark.
The twins on roller skates connected by the beard.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So fantastic.
I love that movie. That's such a bizarre, great movie.
Bizarre is the perfect word.
And it but those kids' movies that are surreal and dark and bizarre
are the best.
Are the best because they managed to capture what it felt like to be a kid.
Totally.
Which is everything's a huge deal in life or death.
Yeah.
And everything's scary and weird.
Totally. Which, because everything is. Like, like, it's not just kids who think that.
Well, it is. Yeah, we just get blasé about it.
Yeah, we're like, whatever.
But when you're a kid, like, everything feels like that. So you to depict that, you have to go that far with the weirdness.
Yeah. No, it's true. Like, it was so funny. I went to see, they just premiered Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the musical, here at Pantages, and I went to the opening.
Oh, you must know somebody.
Yeah, there was like, it was cute. There were like the girls from Dance Moms. I'm such a nerd.
Nice.
I was like, oh my gosh, Dance Moms girls, I love them. And so somebody asked me on the carpet, like, so what do you think the moral of this story is? Like, why do you think this is great for kids? And I basically, like, my thought was like, I don't. Royal Doll was super dark, and like, this is a dark story.
Follow the rules.
But a bunch of kids who get murdered because they're like bad people. Like, and it basically was like, I don't know, like, karma's real. Like, I don't know what to say to this. Like, it's about, like, you know, pretty. I love in the new one how they don't like disappear, how we see them all at the end, like, be better.
You have to have the happy ending.
That's not okay.
No. I had the guy who plays Mike TV in the original on this show.
What?
Paris Themin, and I've said this on the.
What did he say?
He's one of the only guests I've had on that was really unpleasant.
Oh,
and
so he was his character. Wait, he was unpleasant?
Yeah.
Okay, wait.
So here's the thing. He is tired of talking about Willy Wonka, obviously. And like whenever I have people on the show that have talked about the same thing all the time, I always try to talk about other stuff that they've done. And
that's so nice of you.
Almost everyone really enjoys that.
That's great, yeah.
And so he was a Broadway actor as a kid. He was in the Fantastics.
Oh,
he was
wow.
his mom was his mom was a Broadway costume designer, I think. So he grew up in the 60s in Broadway, you know?
Great.
I'm asking him about that. Why ask me about that? No one cares about that. They just want to hear about Willy Wonka. And I'm like, yeah, well, do you want to talk about Willy Wonka? No.
Dude, aggressive.
Yeah, and he asked me to be on the show, first of all.
Wait. Wait. And he was so rude.
Yeah, and then he was like, I watch Breaking Bad, like these shows, and I'm like, yeah, I just haven't been able to break the seal on those shows yet because they're so unrelentingly grim. Like I'm sure they're good, but I just feel like it would really
you have to
bum
get
me
into
out.
It's like a whole thing.
Yeah, I'd feel like I've like been through some shit after.
Oh yeah.
And he goes, well, yeah, you probably just can't handle stuff. I grew up in Manhattan, and maybe you think it's unrelentingly grim is just like kind of how life is. Like it was that kind of stuff.
Oh my gosh, ew!
Yeah,
Get out!
I was
hate
like,
him.
dude.
Obviously, like so unhappy with himself and his life.
Yeah. And then it was a lot of like, I travel the world. I'm like just big up in himself. But I met the entire cast because when I was in college, I was a producer on this morning radio show that I managed to talk my way into.
Okay. You're like, hey, I'm great.
So I was going to school full time. I was working double shifts at this awful steakhouse restaurant on Tuesdays and Sundays, and then I worked this morning radio
big steak
gig.
days.
Yeah, steak days. Morning radio gig every Monday through Friday. I had to be like 4 a.m. till like 10.
Great.
And it was, I don't know, I literally say if someone was like, hey, can you do the schedule you did when you were 19 for 1 week and we'll pay you $10 million? I'd be like, I'm not even gonna try. I can't do that. I have no idea how I don't know how I did it.
1 week you could do it.
Maybe
you could do it. You've done it crazier.
Well, you have a very positive. You can do things because you learned how to roller derby, so you have faith in this.
Yeah. So you just that thing where you're like terrible at something and get better at it.
But when I was in the morning show, it was the 30th anniversary of it. So they had a tour with all the people who played the kids.
I love.
And so I met Paris. I didn't talk to him, but it was everybody. It was Augustus and Charlie, who had the biggest mustache I've ever seen. He's a veterinarian now.
Oh my God.
He had this like Wilford Brimley, like Deadwood mustache. It looked like he was.
Crazy.
It looked like one of those ones that like they go, they hold in your nostril, but it was a real mustache. And he was very quiet and very Charlie Bucket. And so we met all of them. They all did this like tour, and it was really
so
weird.
Cool.
I love that movie.
I love that film.
Have you ever heard the Smoking Popes cover of Pure Imagination?
No.
One of my favorite bands, Smoking Popes.
I'm like literally gonna go put this on my iPod. Yes, my iPod.
Yes.
Right.
No, I have one too.
Oh, good.
Brought it with me so I could be in the car.
Wait, do you actually have an iPod?
Yeah.
Everyone makes fun of me. I have 2 iPods.
It's so convenient.
And they stopped making them. I'm so sad. It's so convenient.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put all that stuff on my phone.
No.
I'm not using Spotify. I only like very specific weird things.
Yeah, and I don't want them to like tell me what I'm going to listen to.
No.
Like sometimes you don't have signal. Like I just want the stuff on here.
I just want it like old. That's not even old school. That's like very contemporary.
It is like 20 years ago.
Oh my gosh, I feel so old. Anyway, okay.
I also have an iPod, and I do like if I have a rental car, I'm like I don't know what the radio stations are going to be.
Totally, but also nothing has an auxiliary cord anymore.
Yeah.
I'm angry. Anyway, okay, cool.
But that's when you have to get the radio tuner. The Smoking Popes, they had a hit with a song from Clueless called "Need You Around." They were
cool.
They're basically like if Green Day was fronted by Morrissey.
Great.
They're great. But they did this cover of Pure Imagination that's so good. It's so good.
Excited.
And their last album is really sad and great and all about Judy Garland.
Oh my God.
It's great though. It's so good.
Sad.
Yeah, it's so good.
Sad.
Yeah, Josh is a great.
Wait, what's the other music I'm waiting? Oh, Blair's
Christian pop. Yeah, I can send you that so you can get that on the iPod.
Perfect.
And actually, Tootie had put out a record at that time.
Oh,
yeah,
gosh,
she put out a couple records that are really good. But I love like 80s Flight Time Prince type stuff, and that's what it sounds like. It sounds like
gotcha.
it sounds like 80s Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
But
my gosh, wait, did you ever see Nancy's like she did like she did a bunch of like for TV films.
Yeah,
but you know the one I'm talking about. You know the one I'm talking about, like the really dark one where
there's a lot.
Well, there's one where she gets like stabbed 40 times.
Oh yes, I have seen that.
Yeah.
There was
She's a great actor. She's a really good actor, like legitimate.
There was such a bizarre dark time in the late 80s where every movie. It was like 70s glam star gets raped and kills everyone.
Yes, what?
There's one where...
Okay, but to be fair, we're like in a time period where everyone's like obsessed with like true crimes right now.
That's true. That's true. I tried to do a bit about that and it fell real flat where I was like, I don't get why people are obsessed with this. I think people just like nicknames. And then I was like, I think everyone's obsessed with serial killers because we don't have any good famous people with nicknames anymore.
Okay.
So it was like, we had Magic Johnson and Mr. T. And so they're just gone. And now people are like, I need the BTK killer.
Yeah.
I haven't found
because they do all have really weird names.
Yeah.
Like they don't deserve nicknames. They're terrible murderers. And then we give them like cool names like Steel Bones Gary. I don't know. Like,
Steel Bones Gary was just vicious.
Yeah, vicious.
No, I'll tell you after, because I've told this story before, but that's one of my huge pet peeves, and I've got into it with people about some of this stuff.
Really?
Because I'll tell you later.
Wait, what is the pet peeve? It's like
that people worship these serial killers.
Oh.
Or like hero worship them.
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
Again, I was on a show about Charles Manson, who literally just tried to marry a 19-year-old girl from prison. Yeah. He has passed away now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
So we have to do a part 2 after we go on this road trip and do the 700 things that we've decided that we have to do.
20 things.
And then check back in with everybody. But
for sure.
This has been great. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me. And I'm sorry I didn't do the game.
That's sometimes some people do, some people don't.
I literally just sat down and started immediately talking about facts of life. So.
Yeah, that's why you didn't need it.
Great.
You didn't need the feather. You could fly the whole time.
Oh, thank you so much.
The facts of life with the TV guide is your feather. Thanks. There you go. That's Emma, as promised. She's fantastic. She will be in something bigger and better than The Gifted, which I enjoyed very much, so that will be something very big and very better. If you haven't watched that show, definitely check it out. It's a fun show. If you haven't heard my episode with Matt Nix from a year and a half ago, go back and listen to that. We talk about behind the scenes on that show quite a bit, and the creation of a show and how you tell stories, and it's one of my favorite episodes of the show. I went to LA recently, which is where I did this episode with Emma. Thanks to you and your money from the Patreon. So if you would like to give to that, go to patreon.com/TV Guidance Counselor. That helped fund my trip out there. I got some great episodes, so I hope you've been enjoying them. I will be out at Denver Pop Culture Con at the end of May, so please see me there. And UK listeners, I am in the UK for pretty much the whole month of June, so hopefully be grabbing some episodes there, probably doing some stand-up, but more info to come. You can email me at tvguidancecounselor@gmail.com or ken@icanread.com if you would like more information, or check icanread.com or all the social media, at TV Guidance on Instagram and Twitter, at Kenneth W. Reed on the same, and all the usual jazz. So we'll see you again next time for a brand new edition of TV Guidance Counselor.